put read more, dumbass.
See, and wait, here, actually, no, cross that out.
Okay, you're right,
See?
you're right,
See?
yeah.
You're
right,
you're
right.
classifying yourself to be that word.
I know, I'm sorry.
And you may think that that's funny, but that shit is the real truth right there. Like, don't call yourself those words. Don't call yourself stupid or dumb, because when you do that, you will live the next 10 years in that dumbass phase, and it will eat you alive. And then you're going to realize 10 years later, like, oh my God, imagine if I just called myself smart the entire time.
Cool.
So anytime that you catch yourself saying that, or like those words, I just be very clear. Yeah, stop it, because you're not dumb. You're smart. You graduated high school. You know how many people don't graduate high school? You know how many homeless people that are out there because they don't care? And now you have an earning opportunity. And the reason why I say that is because there's millions of other people that say that same thing about themselves, and you need to help them cut that too.
Okay.
Okay, so what questions do you have? Let's get started with your, didn't you have like a book of questions or different things that you want to cover?
Okay, but perfect. I mean, however you want to do this.
Let's start with it, because I want to help you with what you feel like you're struggling the most.
I appreciate that. Okay. So, first thing, it's just pretty common in objections that I'm sure all salespeople get. Like I said, I'm new entry into the field of sales, so please don't judge me for some of these.
It's okay.
So first thing is price, obviously. We are a premium company.
So it depends on how is the customer coming in. Are they coming in through the phone? Are they coming in through the website? Or like you're in front of them, you're sitting in front of them?
So how it works, I'll give you our little process on things. So they go out to their garage, they press the button, they're either hearing a loud noise that's out of the norm, or their door's not opening. And it can be a number of things. That's when we send out a technician to their house in a van. We then knock on their door, and then we go out to the garage and we diagnose it. Okay. So yeah, that's usually how it goes. Then, would you like to know
and then is that when they give you the price objection, like, oh, it costs too much, or I can't afford it, or like I'm gonna ask somebody else for a quote first before you, before they finalize and sign the paperwork? Like, hey, we're gonna.
It depends. It depends. Some people like don't know anything about doors, or like they don't know how to find, like the crazy thing is, like, some people don't even know where to even look to find garage door guys. So sometimes they're like, they don't know prices on doors, so they just think that our high prices are pretty much like industry standards, if that makes sense.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
And then there are some people that do a little bit of research, and then they'll get other prices, and they'll compare it, and they'll be like, well, this company is charging X amount of dollars, yet you guys are...
So our goal is to close them right then and there.
Then and there?
Yeah, we want to close them right then and there. Right. Because three things are going to happen. If you can't close, you lose, the company loses, and the customer loses. And the problem is you're not the only, like, obviously there's a problem with their garage door, so it's not a matter of if they're going to get something done, it's just a matter of when, right? Because they can't get their car out of the garage because it keeps acting up, and then you don't want, then if you can't close them, and then it's like a Tuesday morning, and then the garage isn't open, then they're late to work, well, that falls on you. Like, that's, you're doing them a disservice by not closing them on the spot, because you don't want them to be like, oh, it's going to fix now, it's good, and then like 2 weeks later, then it's not working. So we want to make sure that the garage door is operating. So when it comes down to price, a couple different things. Number one, you have to believe in your product more than they believe. Like, you have to have more certainty that your product is going to work more than they believe, because they're trying to tell you, no, I believe that there's a better pricing out there. But if your belief outweighs what they believe, you're going to win every single time. So, and not only that, if you can't close them that day, they're just going to call somebody else and they're going to buy from them. Yep, that's exactly. And all they're looking for, it's kind of like me, like looking for a car, right? Like, I'm looking for a Nissan Altima. So I'm calling all these dealerships and I'm going lot to lot to lot to lot to lot to lot. Or I'm just calling every single location. I'm like, hey, how much for this Altima? How much, how much, how much, how much, how much? Right. And it's just, I'm going to spend my money because my car got totaled anyways. It's just a matter of who's going to be the person that has the most amount of certainty, and who's going to be the one to collect my money from me.
We're not by any means, we're not the most expensive company, but by no means are we the
So what you're going to tell them is, let's say you were to go and take a look at all the other garage door companies, okay? Let's say that you went to ABC and other location, okay? It's not a matter of if you're going to buy the car, sorry, I'm stuck in car.
No, you're good.
It's not a matter of if you're going to buy the garage door services or not, but it's a matter of the company who's going to give you the best deal or not. So I'm going to give you a 5-minute proposal of all the facts and figures of what's going to happen and our services from here moving forward. So every single time that I go into negotiation, I'm assuming that you have a pen and paper with you, right? Like when you're at their house?
Usually my iPad.
Okay.
I do
but
keep a pen, that you can write down.
Something that you can write down. So let's just say, how much does an average garage door cost? Or how much do you guys charge? How much is that?
I mean, it depends. But if we're going with a builder grade door, I know our prices. How
much does it cost to fix? $1,500, $2,000, $3,000?
Oh, to fix?
Yeah.
I mean, that depends what's wrong with it. But usually if a spring's broken, because I don't know how much you know about a garage, so the spring goes above the garage. It does all the heavy lifting. Okay. It's the muscle of the garage. Because your garage, dead weight, and before I was in the industry, I used to think the motor, right? The motor above, that's what does all the heavy lifting.
Okay. So how much is that normally?
I'm sorry. So I would say our average repair is anywhere from,
let's just say it's $2,000 go on average, okay? So this is going to be A1. So what we're going to go into is called money justification.
Money justification?
Okay. And let's just say like the competition, I'm just giving you an average on the repair that you have to do for this house is $2,000.
Okay.
Let's say that the competition is $1,500.
Okay.
So what you're going to do is you're going to make it the customer's idea every single time. You're going to make it easy for them to say yes to and hard for them to say no to, right? So they're already telling you like, hey, your product to get it fixed, it's $2,000, but I got a quote the other day from somebody that's $1,500. What you're going to show them is the difference between your quality product and theirs. And then also I'm going to teach you a technique of what I do to make sure that customer is always going to stay loyal to you and a raving fan. I'm also going to teach you how to create raving fans.
Raving fans.
And this is what's also going to get you a couple different things. So you're going to be able to get referrals off of it. Right. You're going to create loyal people. And then also you're going to create upsells for yourself. At the end of the day, if you have a brand but nobody knows who you are, you're not going to be able to compress time frames. And we want to make sure.
What do you mean by compressed time frames?
Like normally what it would take somebody, 5 years in a garage service company. If you were to work there and let's say what you make $80K every single year, right? Or like $90K every single year, we're going to teach you how to do that within a matter of 6 months so you can double up your income. We're going to help you compress time frames. So again, like for me, my last year, it took me 10 years. It took Celina 10 years from when I was 18 years old to 28 years old to figure out how to make $165,000. That's how much it took me. Why? Because in these whole entire 10 years, I was coming into work and I'm like guessing and trial and error and figuring out like, oh, does this word track work? Does this style work? I'm guessing, I don't know. When I ended up finding somebody that had the blueprint layout map plan and he taught me how to do it within a matter of a year. Okay. And I'm like, oh, if somebody can give me the blueprint and somebody tells me how to do it within 1 year, I just got to pay a little bit how to do it. Why wouldn't I want to do that and make 165 within my first year? So what we're going to do is we're going to teach you how to double up your income. That way you close every single time. That way you're not like Celina 10 years later trying to figure out how to make $165,000. Cool. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
If you've got a brand, which is A1 Garage, and what we're going to do is we're going to teach you how to make your own brand. You're an entrepreneur is what you are. So
entrepreneur.
Yeah,
I like that.
You're an entrepreneur. Okay. Tommy Mello is an entrepreneur because he takes all the legal hits, all the fines. He has to do all the W-2 forms. Like that's all on him. The cool part about being an entrepreneur is you have less legal matter that's involved and you get to build your own brand. So if you have a brand, which you and your own style, Max at A1 Garage, but nobody knows who you are, if you're just like every other A1 Garage person, you're not going to be able to compress time frames to make that money within your first or the second year mark. So if I would have known how to build a brand within my first 2 years, I wouldn't have to worry about, like people would automatically want to do business with me because referrals. Okay. I probably didn't get good until about my 5th or my 6th year, where I was so consistent and people came back to me because of how amazing I was. which the great part is I want you to write this down. Relationships kill objections.
Relationships kill. Oh, okay.
Relationships kill objections.
I was taking that the wrong way. I was like,
if I'm able, let's just say Susie, because I love Susie. Let's say that this customer's name is Susie, and I take such good care of her. Every single time that she's got a friend with a garage door, or she owns her home and she's living in a home facility or a community where everybody has garages and it breaks down, Susie is more than likely to have your back because you had hers.
Right.
Now, I'm going to teach you how to build that raving fans, and then also I want to teach you about the law of reciprocity. Have you ever heard Andy talk about that?
Yeah, reciprocity. Yes, reciprocity. That's when you, like, he has a good example. Before you set up the appointment with the prospect, hey, let me get you something. If they say no, I got to bring you something, whether it be an empty cup of water.
Yeah, because if you can't give them,
in their mind,
yes, and if you can't,
they owe you something, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
And if you can't give them a free cup of water, what makes you think you can sell them on something for $2,000?
A lot of Andy Elliott.
So, like something, I'm just thinking. And I'm only teaching you these things based off of the 10 years of experience of sales that I have. Mm-hmm. What I would do if I was in your shoes is I would carry a cooler with me everywhere I go. Even though you're going into the home and they have water, I would still give them a water upon your arrival. Second thing, if you're walking straight to the garage, good. But if you're going through the home, like if you have to enter in the home first before you get to the garage, I always take the shoes off because you never know, like,
I always ask.
Property of the home, the level of status, and not only that, but we want to show people like, hey, I'm going to treat you and your family like it's my garage company and it's my home. Like I'm going to treat you as if this was my home, and if somebody were to walk in here, how would I feel about that, right?
Right.
I don't know, maybe if they have dogs, maybe you can always carry like dog treats with you too. That's another creative thing. I'm just thinking, what can we give these people something first? That way you create such a good relationship that they can't say no because you've given them so much. And you can even go to like the dollar store, right? And like stack up and just carry a Ziploc bag with you and be like, oh, I have dogs too. Like, is that okay? I have a couple treats I carry with me. Like, is that okay if I give your dog one? Make sure you ask before first. Yeah, totally cool. Okay, now they're like, oh, you kind of remind me of my son or my brother. If we can create that relationship where like, I'm relatable to you. Mm-hmm. Like Jacob Hagerman, for example. I remember when I first met him, he reminded me of a young man's version compared to my brother who is 10. Like I saw if we were to fast forward the time 10 years later, my brother was 20. I'm like, oh my God, I'm talking to Jacob Hagerman. Yeah. So I felt so connected to him. So if we can really get in that other person's shoes, also viewing where they're at, think about the position that they're in. They're stressed out, they're frustrated. Your job is just to solve their problem every single time. Mm-hmm. But these small little touches like the water, the dog treats, taking off the shoes, people, they don't always remember what you say, but they'll remember the way that you made them feel.
Gotcha.
And when you're entering the home like that with a sign of respect, they're like, you know what, I like this young kid. Like, because let's just say that that you don't close them that day, mm-hmm. and they are calling other people to do estimates. Just remind yourself, like, the other people that are coming by the home, who's going to respect them the most?
Right.
And that's who they want to spend the money with. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So let's go back to the money here. So it's going to cost us about $2,000 to repair it. Competition is going for $1,500, okay? Do you guys offer financing?
Yes.
Do you guys do financing? Yes, we do.
And that was going to be another thing, but go ahead.
And they finance it with you guys or through a bank, or what is that like?
I forget the what is it? It's some service, some finance service. It's not through us, but we work with them. Okay. If that makes sense.
So it's like I'm assuming it's like a $200 monthly payment or $300 monthly payment.
No,
do you finance often or no?
I'm not out in the field yet, but yes, some guys don't offer it because they've been hit with I don't finance or they don't themselves finance.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
But we can get garage doors that cost, because garage doors go from, remember how I said your basic door is 4K? Mm-hmm. They go from 4K all the way up to 30K, depending on installation, design. There's certain variables that go into it.
Okay.
So I've seen doors that are like what we try to sell, which is a insulated steel back door. It's 2 layers of metal rather than 1. I've seen them which are 7K out. That's out the door price. I've seen them go down to like, I want to say like $80 a month, depending on.
So whatever is going to cost in this $2,000 is what you're going to break down. So I don't know
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what's in it, but let's say it's like a spring, right? Or you can break down what is it? Like a spring?
We'll do spring.
Okay.
And then the next thing are end bearings.
Okay.
Drums, and if you have any questions, I'll answer them. Drums, and then cables.
Okay.
So think of the spring line is typically the main thing we go out there for, or even motors too. So think of it like a pulley system. The springs turn this bar, which in turn turns those drums, which the cables wrapped around, which are connected to the bottom of the door. So I don't know if this is making sense to you, but you know what I mean.
Okay.
So all these parts move in unison. So if a spring breaks, and that's one thing I want to go over with you too, I'll get into it, but if a spring breaks, typically these parts are bad.
Okay, so let's just say this is like, let's just say it's $300. Let's say...
Let's do, because we have 3 different levels of springs. Our cheapest one is 500, our middle of the road's 8, and then our top of the line, which is our max life, which is significantly way better, and it offers a lifetime warranty, is about $1,100.
I'm just going to break down, I'm going to just total it up to the 2,000. So let's say the end bearings are 500. It's okay. And then let's go 700. And then let's just go 300 because it's going to match up to this total part here. So what I would say is normally, Mr. Customer, the springs for this type of service, it's usually around $800. The end bearings is usually about 200. Or I'm sorry, we're always going to go higher than this end price. Okay, so I would say this typically costs about $850. This usually costs about $900. This usually costs about $600. That's normally any other place that you were to go to. Now here at our A1 garage repair.
So that's where it can. Because I think I know where you're going with this, but that's where it can get, I feel like you can shoot yourself in the foot, because anywhere else, what they do is their parts, like for instance, drums, say if we're charging 700, they actually charge maybe like 400, you know what I mean? That's actually obviously that's not an accurate representation of the price, but if that kind of puts it in more of perspective for you. Okay,
so I'm running with this, and all I'm trying to do is I want to make it the customer's idea every single time. So this is $1,600, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. You know, let's just say it ends up totaling out to $2,300.
Okay.
I'll do the math on it.
I'm gonna go ahead and shut up because I feel like I'm just.
It's okay. Yeah. It's okay. This is why we're here. Okay, 800 plus 800 plus 900 plus 600. Okay, so the total, normally what it would have cost any other company to do is about $3,100. Ours is going to be about $2,000. So if we were to subtract the two, we're actually saving you about $1,100 going with us. Now, this is our new company, and this is the competition, right? Okay. Their services and products. Now, what I would go into here is, where do your parts are they like authentic, or where do they come from, or like?
No, yeah. So that's kind of how we kind of build value, because I wish I could explain this to you, but other companies, they use cheaper parts, China made.
Yep.
We use more expensive parts.
That's what we're going to go into. So let's go end bearing, and then drums, and then cables. So
the way we kind of build value is, not only do we offer better parts, better warranties, but we also offer premium service.
Okay, perfect. So
I'm so sorry if I keep.
You're good. So all of this, whatever they use, you're gonna talk about how yours is USA product. This is made from
China.
From China. Also, you're getting third-party parts. Maybe this is OEM, right? Okay. At the end of the day,
OEM?
Original equipment manufacturer. Okay. So you're getting this, like the spring rod or the spring piece. Right. You're getting it from the manufacturer of the actual garage, instead of like a O'Reilly's or
like
Home Depot, right? Yeah. Like this is kind of like a third-party company. This has actually been tested, right? So then you're going to take your $2,000. And then you're going to take the $1,500, and you're going to say that you're going to be saving them $500 over a 2-year period. What typically ends up happening is all these pieces that you end up paying for. Let's say that spring, you pay $200 and then $600 here. That spring over a 2-year period, you're going to have to end up replacing that at least 2 times, because of the quality is going to break so fast. Now, over a 2-year period, if you were to double up all of these numbers, you're technically over a 2-year period, you're going to be paying double over mine. So when you show them and you do the money justification,
so break it down.
Yeah, so let's say, so what's 15? Let's just say like this spring bearing costs 200, and then let's just say this one costs 600, 678. Let's do this.
Now I'm gonna start bringing a notepad and piece of paper and every, or a pen and paper and every.
Okay, so 700. Let's just say that this costs 600, and then this costs $100.
Okay.
Right. So 300, 600, 600, $100. This all equals up $1,500.
Okay.
But because these parts come from China, you're gonna have to end up over a 2-year period. You're gonna have to pay this twice because these products are gonna break.
Right.
So in the long run, not only are you gonna pay that initial fee, the $1,500, but within a 2-year period, you're gonna have to pay double that.
I like that.
Which is going to be $3,000.
Right.
So we're
and
actually
then opposed to.
Yep. Yeah. And then you can subtract it from the $2,000, which is $1,000. So technically, over a 2-year period, we're going to be saving you $1,000. And when you make it, you're making it their idea.
So my question to you, because typically, we're standing there. I've learned not to hold your iPad right there because it builds like a wall separation. Always kind of put it to the side.
Yeah.
Help kind of make it feel more comfortable. So typically we'll go into price, or we'll hit them with the price, and then that's when they're like, okay, no, I like, you're too much. How would you go from that position to, here, let me get out a piece of paper and break it down? Like, how would you word it?
Negotiation always needs to be done in a seated position.
Okay.
It has to be done in a seated position. So because what happens if you guys are both standing in the garage and then you're bickering back and forth, he can just be like, okay, all right, thanks, bye, and leave you out. So I would like, if there's a table in the garage, sit down, or go inside the house and be like, here, let me show you exactly what I mean.
So how would you
I'm going to show you how I'm going to save you money in the next 2 years.
Okay. So how would you ask, because I don't want to just invite myself in their house, right? But so like, because typically that's where all our negotiating is done, is we're standing up with the customer in the garage, because we like to do that because, if they do have any questions about anything, we can present it to them right then and there and kind of show it to them. You know
anywhere,
what I mean?
if you have to do it in the garage, anywhere that has a flat surface where you can write on, because we want to make it make sense, and when what's written is retained. So when they see the actual savings, then it's like, oh, because you're writing it out. If you just say it in words, people don't get it. People are visual.
Right. Would you recommend maybe taking this so then I can
Yes. I would not do it on the iPad. I would literally bring like paper with you.
Right.
Yep.
Old school.
And I would do that.
Agree.
And I would say, here's our price. This is A1. And then here is, ABC, because we don't want to name any other people if we don't need to. So here's ABC Garage. I'm going to show you the difference in how we're going to save you money in the next 2 years. And then boom, you can go into the price breakdown, and this is all called money justification.
So I have a question for you too. A little bit off topic, but it's overpriced. So I've noticed some of the guys, I've been riding with a lot of the top guys, and they've been making it look easy. And I told my manager that I don't want to just ride with top guys. I want to ride with, well, obviously I want to ride with top guys and see how they do it, but I also want to ride with a guy that's like middle of the barrel, and then guys that are at the bottom, so I can kind of compare. What I've noticed is some of the top guys, and it works for them, when they go in, they'll explain like, hey, there's cheaper companies out there, that you can probably get at a cheaper price. But usually one guy that sticks with, that stands out in my head, how he says it is, he'll say that, and then he'll follow it up with, but if you look at us in like a 10-year scope, we're actually a lot cheaper. And then he'll go into explain how, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I would just tell the customer, I would let them know that.
And they usually do that. I don't mean to interrupt, but they usually do that like right at the get-go. Like they'll introduce themselves, they'll try to build up some rapport, and then typically the customer's like, well, okay, let's go in and check our price, or let's go in and check out the garage, and then they'll be like, that's when they'll say it.
I would never. I mean, unless if it's a proven track record and they're getting results from it. Like you can do A/B testing.
It's hit or miss.
Yeah, you can try it one way. I would do that maybe for like 3 months and then try another way for 3 months. But I would never bring up price unless they do, because you're creating your own objection for the customer.
Gotcha.
We don't ever want to give them an inclining feel for them to start discounting or ask us for those other areas.
Right.
So I go straight into this, and then also another thing that I tell them is like, by the way, you guys, like this isn't something where I'm just gonna like sell you this product, or like you're going to get these services and then that's it. Like, I'm going to be with you guys for life. So, and usually their phone is around the table, right? Or in their pocket. Can you grab out your phone real quick? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Okay, awesome, cool. And I want you to do this. Go ahead and go to your phone book.
I'm just going to go to my contacts. Is that cool?
Okay, and I'm going to have you add in a new entry right there. Hit the plus button. And then I'm going to have you type in Celina, Celina, A1 Garage. And I'm going to have you type in my phone number.
I already have it, but...
Perfect. Yeah. And that's exactly what I do, and I would make them do it on the spot. I'd make them do it on the spot. Don't ask them, hey, do you, like, can I put my number in your phone? They're going to be like, no, you weirdo. Like, you've only been in my garage for a couple minutes. But when you demand it, that's when the certainty comes in. Could you grab your phone real quick? Do you have is your phone on you? Do you have your phone on you? And they're like, yeah, what do you need my phone for? Like, yeah, sure, it's right here. Okay, awesome. Open it up. See, I'm demanding. See how I'm giving them statement?
Yeah.
Like, you were just like, oh, okay, I guess I'm getting my phone.
Well, I didn't know if we were role playing or not.
You see my certainty, how I was of
did.
like, grab your phone. That's what I did when I sold. And I'm like, you're going to take your phone out and you're going to save my phone number right now.
Okay.
Because in the event that something does happen, I want to be the first person that you're going to call, because I back up all of my products and I want to serve my clients at the highest level. Not only that, but like, I want to make sure that this product is going to do what it does for 2 years.
Right.
And I'm going to be doing rounds here in the next 6 months, and I'm going to be doing check-ins with you too as well. So I would love to just swing on by whenever you're available. I'd like to come and check in on the springs, make sure that you guys are all good to go. And then they're like, oh, shoot, because I'm telling you right now, and I want you to write this down, we have to do common things in uncommon ways.
Okay.
Do common things. In uncommon ways. Because you got to think about it. Your competition, when they're in there, I always put myself in the shoes of my competition. And I'm like, okay, if some dude with some garage company was in here right now, what would they do? Well, I guarantee you that they're not going to pull their phone out and be like, save my phone number right now. And then you can make them do like a test call, like call your phone, and that way they see it's coming up. And you're like, perfect, I'm going to save you your number right now, Susie. That way, if there's anything that you need. So a couple different things that happen. Let's just say worst case scenario, you didn't close this customer. Let's just say it didn't happen, or they really do need to look at a couple of other companies or whatever. I would put them on the hot list. Do you guys have a CRM? Do you have a CRM yet?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Or if you don't have a CRM, create a log for yourself. Susie on 101 Street, put her phone number in, and I would be checking in and following up with her.
Just to make sure.
Yeah. And let's just say she did go with the ABC company that did the $1,500 services. I would still check in with her in a month. And I would tell her, hey, Susie, like, I call her. If she didn't pick up, I'd send her out a text message. I know that you went with ABC company, but I wanted to check in to make sure that everything is going well. Regardless if you buy your product from A1 Garage or ABC company, I still want to make sure that all those parts and components are working, because when I told you and I met you and I said that we're going to serve you at the highest level, you deserve that.
Yeah.
I think that you deserve to know what your life looks like with a great working garage. And the worst thing that could happen is in 6 months, these parts begin failing and you have nobody to reach out and to contact to.
Right.
I want to let you know that I'm here at your beck and call to serve you at the highest level.
Cool.
Then Susie is like, damn, I didn't even buy the product from you and you're still calling me to make sure? Because the guy that's going to sell her the 15, there's a reason why a price is there. You know why? Because that guy's not going to call her.
Right.
And he's not going to have that voice and that passion of like, hey, is everything going good? So then when Susie sees like, oh, dang, Max is still following up with me even though I didn't buy my product from A1 Garage, wow, like that's going to stand out to her.
Yeah.
He truly does care. That's where we dive into the raving fans. So then if something does happen, guess who she's going to go to? Or if she has friends or family members, you're going to be the person.
Yeah.
So our goal is to stay in front of those people no matter what.
Gotcha.
So even if you're doing like maybe some rounds in that neighborhood again, like I would just even stop by, knock on Susie's door, or maybe I would like write her up a letter or send her a card and say, hey, it was a pleasure meeting you. I loved you and your dogs. You guys were awesome.
Yeah.
You know, that ties into it too, because she's more than likely relationships kill objections. So she's more than likely going to send you referrals than to the other guy because the other guy's not going to care as much.
Gotcha.
So that's going to, and she'll be loyal to you.
Right.
And then guess what? Then the upsell comes in. So if things do start breaking or things do start happening,
Gotcha.
you're more than likely to get an upsell out of this or a referral.
Cool. I don't mean to like be rude or anything, but do you mind? Can we go to
the next one? Let's do it. Yeah.
So our next one, and these I've taken from some of the top guys. I asked them what are our top 5 objections.
Okay, cool.
So maybe if you want to write them down, just I don't know if we'll be able to get through all of them, but HOA, home warranty, I'm sure you can understand how they can be, or the spouse objection. I need to talk to my significant other. Another one we get a lot is it's been that way forever. Why do I even though you're identifying the part and you're saying that it's failed, it's been working like that, you know. And then I guess another one, I think I can overcome this one, but I can do it myself. I would never recommend doing any work yourself on a garage just because those springs are dangerous. They're meant to pick up anywhere from 150 to 300 pounds. Okay. So if there's a lot of tension, right? And with cables. Okay, we can start here.
The second one. So I need to talk to my spouse. Couple different things. Whenever we're building out a word track, you're always thinking, how are we going to service the customer? So every single time that I get that word track, I try to think of time. How can we save the customer more time? Because people want to save time, right?
Right.
Like they want to save time, they want to save capital, they want to save energy.
Can you elaborate on capital? What do you mean by capital? Okay.
If they can save more money by doing it right now than continuing to let the garage door continuously going over and over and malfunction, then they're going to have more problems that they're going to have to dump more money into.
Yeah.
So when I'm talking about that, like, hey, I'm not married, but if I was married or I did have a wife, I know that one thing that's really important to her is if I could take all the pressure out of the deal and I could be the hero at the end of the day, that would be really important to me. So I want to make sure.
Can I write that down?
Yep.
Yeah, because I've heard him say it before, and I should have written it down, but I've always.
Yeah. I'm not married, and you're telling the truth. I'm not married, but if I was married and I had a wife, I would want to make sure that I took all the time and the capital and the energy out of the deal. That way I could be the hero at the end of the day.
Okay. I would like to take all the time and
yeah.
And you said pressure?
Yeah.
Pressure.
Yeah. Take all the hassle, hassle of you needing to talk with her, and we can just solve it and get it done right now.
Out of the deal, so I can be the hero at the end of the day.
You said that the garage door was squeaking. You said that it wasn't opening and closing. You said that it malfunctions. You said all these things. So what if at the end of the day that we could make you the hero, take all the pressure out of the deal? That way when your wife comes home, she's not bothered or annoyed, and it's still next Tuesday, and she's still sitting at the clicker, and it's not opening up.
That's why I wanted to, because I'm a slow writer, so if I ever, when I do go back on the video, I can, correct it.
Yep. And just put yourself in the customer's shoes and be like, okay, if I was a husband and I had a wife, and the worst thing that could happen is it's next Tuesday and your wife comes home and she's upset hitting the clicker and she's got the kids crying in the back seat and she's got the ice cream that's melting, and now she's upset because she thought that you already had this handled and taken care of, and it's not. I want to make sure that you're the hero at the end of the day, so let's just go ahead and get this solved now and wrap it up. Yeah. And really do put yourself in their shoes. Like, I know if I had a garage door that wasn't, was malfunctioning, and it's like, okay, it's good for like 2 days, and then I'm like, oh, great, here we go again. It's so annoying. The worst thing that could happen right now is I leave your home, Mr. Customer, and 3 days later, we're still sitting here with the same problem. Because if you keep doing the same thing over and over, nothing changes. And if you don't change this and if you don't solve this, these problems are still going to continue to persist when we can just go ahead and handle this now and get it done, and I'm out of your hair within 30 minutes. Yeah, and you want to, that's making it the customer's idea because they do want to save money, right? They do want to save time, because the more that they continue, every single day that they continue to let these things happen over and over and over again, it's making the machine and the pulley system worse. So they're going to have to dump more money over time, right? So that's how you're making the customer's idea every single time. We want to make it easy for them to say yes to.
Cool. Okay. So in the Warrior Playbook, is that what it's called? I know it's more geared towards auto sales, right?
Yeah,
but it's gonna go over all this.
Yes,
right?
You can replace that with
cool
garage doors instead of cars. You can
Gotcha.
make your own.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool,
What's your next one?
So we did can we do home warranty? Like, usually, with home warranties when it's. Or actually, I don't know. Let's do, instead of home warranties, let's do like, if it's a tenant situation, right?
Okay.
So it's usually easier to sell someone in person and show them everything, and like, because one thing we do is we take those end bearings down. A bad bearing, if it rattles, that's a bad bearing.
Okay.
Right. So what we do is we let them compare apples to apples. We'll bring the new bearings in, and we'll go for what we call a second knock, because after. Part of our process, which I think Tommy Mello came up with it, is once we get there, we go over, like, say if it's a broken spring, we'll then identify the spring, we'll start the work and do the spring, and then if we notice anything else, that's when we go for the second knock and bring it to their attention. So it's hard to kind of do that when the landlord isn't there and you got to do it over the phone. You can't kind of present it to the. You see what I'm saying?
Is the person renting the house?
Yeah, let's say you go to the house, but you're dealing with the renter, and so obviously they're not gonna pay for it. They're gonna make the landlord pay for it. So you got to do it over the phone. Sometimes they don't want to be there, and you got to try to sell them over the phone. But it's you see the predicament that I'm in.
How do you get on the phone with the owner of the house?
Usually just call them, or they're usually the ones that set the date up.
Okay.
Or the appointment.
Okay, and then what? So then you're in front of the homeowner, and then what?
No. So you're not in front of the homeowner. They'll set it up. They'll say, "Hey, I own this rental property. I have my renters there. Can you go service my garage?"
Okay.
And so then we get there, and obviously now we're face to face with the renter. Sometimes the landlord will be there, but sometimes they're busy or whatever. They're at work, so they'll just be like, any issues, just call me. Or if once you figure out what's going on, just give me a call. So then usually how it plays out, we do call them, and they're like, oh, and we tell them what's wrong, and then they're like, okay, so how much is it? And then they get sticker shock with our prices due to the fact that we are a lot more expensive than most companies.
Okay. So you're over the phone and they're telling you price, like the price is too much.
Right, and that goes back to price. But like because it's over the phone, how you can't sit there.
Yeah, it's a little bit more difficult because you're dealing with they're not physically there. They're not.
Exactly.
They're not in person.
Right. It's kind of a shitty situation,
yeah,
right?
Well, I'm just trying to think, like, even if they I don't know. I'm gonna have to think on that.
Yeah,
one.
No, go ahead. Get back to me.
I'm gonna think on that.
It's all
one.
good. Yeah, get back to me.
Homeowner / renter.
Yeah, get back to me.
I have to think of something creative on that one.
Cool. Yeah. And then so it's been that and this kind of goes back to lack of education.
Okay.
But and I wrote it here. So even if you do, because I know Andy Elliott has that delusional belief that he can sell anyone, and I do believe it. I'm not saying I don't, but I've noticed it that where some guys do everything right, everything, build rapport, you get the trust. I'll pull this up later, but build trust, super good, and then they just are like, they still say no, pretty much. So, and the main objection that we get is it's been that way forever. Why do I need to drop any more money into my garage?
But did they reach out to you guys for help?
Yep. Yeah, typically. Well, typically we'll go out there and that we usually see this scenario when we go out there because it's a noisy door or whatever, or there's a noise, and then so we'll bring it to their attention. We'll say, hey, this is the cause, whatever. It's hard to give you an example because there's so many variants that go into it. We'll usually identify it, and then we'll be like, so we also noticed that these were bad. We need to replace it, and that's when we'll get hit with this objection. Like, it's been that way forever. It's been making that noise, or I've noticed that that it's been like that forever.
What did they want to solve though? Like if it's a noise that's been happening forever, we have to find their pain point, that's why.
Okay.
So what's the pain point? We have to find the pain point. Is it the sound that's annoying? Is it the fact that it won't open? We have to find the pain point, because if we don't find the pain point, we can't close it.
Okay.
So we got to know, what are they struggling with? What are they annoying? What are they annoyed with? Notice like the first thing that I asked you when you sat down here is, what are you struggling with currently? Because you have to open up the sale in order to close it.
Okay.
So if I don't know, like, what was the reason that initially made them decide to reach out? Was it they were annoyed? Was it doesn't open? Like, because I have to, in order for me to solve that problem, I have to know what the problem is. So once you find out what that is, then we can go in and fix it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So get it out of them. Like when you're there, be like, what are you currently struggling with, or what's the problem? They reached out on an ad or Instagram or, a mailer or something for some reason. So we have to find out what that pain point is, and then we can solve it. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it does.
Okay.
It does. I think we're good with that. Okay, this is more for like, I want your 2 cents.
Okay. Yeah.
How do you build trust, and how do you build rapport? And then also to, we'll get into it later.
Trust and rapport. So people are just looking for a professional person to do business with. So a couple different things is, most homeowners, most people that are buying anything, their goal is to speed up. Like, okay, I want you in and out of my house. Like, like give me my quote and get out.
Yes.
Like that's their goal. Your goal is to slow down the transaction. We need to slow it down. That's why I said bring dog treats with you, bring whatever it is that you can to give yourself time to build that relationship.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they want you in and out. They don't want you to be there any longer because they don't want to be closed, or they're busy, they got another appointment, or they got the ice cream that's going on, the ice cream man's come around, so they have to leave. So my goal is to slow it down. So a couple different things that I do is my awareness is extremely heightened. Like, I know what's going on at all times. So as the customer, I can sense if they're busy, they're anxious, they're getting rushed, if they're very slow. Like, based off of their tempo is the tempo I'm gonna run off of. So if I have a slower guy that's in front of me, I'm gonna be like, oh, what's going on, big dog? Are you ready to kill? We're gonna get you new, you know what I mean? Like, because then he's gonna be like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
So, but if it's a slower guy, I'm like, what? I'm gonna treat him like my dad or my grandpa or whoever it is that is similar to that age category. So if it's a slower person, then I'm going to slow down. Be like, oh, do you have a beautiful home? Is this your dog? I'm so glad that you called us. Do you know A1? Have you heard of us before? With that big old graphic on, the bus?
Right.
I always make the customer laugh and put them in a good state. So that's the first thing I do. You should write that down. Change their state.
I actually do. I try to make my customers
Good.
laugh.
That's how I build trust.
I haven't been trying to make you laugh, but I like to think that I'm pretty funny.
Yeah, I like to change their state. That's how I do it. So
always make the customer laugh.
Yeah, make them laugh. Make a joke. Do something. Make them something laugh, because people, they don't buy things in a bad mood. They always buy things in a good mood. I am never going to go get engaged and go get a diamond ring when I'm pissed off.
Right.
I'm going to get it when I'm excited and I'm in love, and we're going to have a baby and a wedding and a marriage, and we're going to send out invitations. Like, I'm in a good mood. If I were to go move into a new home and then I need to go get furniture, well, I'm excited about the furniture, but if I go meet a sales guy that has a terrible attitude, I'm like, I'm not going to buy anything from you, because I want to buy with somebody that I'm in a good mood. So I'm going to go to the next furniture store and hope to God that somebody's excited to collect my money that I have. These people own a home, they have money, they just need to know who's the right person to spend it with. So we always want to put them in a good state, get them to smile. Eye contact is really important.
Okay.
Because nobody makes it anymore.
Give me your 2 cents. How am I with eye contact?
Good. I think that you're great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's one thing that I noticed. I felt like in the seminar too. But I'm just going to give you an example. Like, let's say you were to go out and eat to a restaurant. Notice nobody makes eye contact anymore.
Yes. I say it all the time. Or I say this all the time. Like, back in the 50s, when you went, or maybe not the 50s, the 60s, whenever McDonald's first came out, when you would go and get a Happy Meal, like, the employers would admit, like, they would be super happy-go-lucky. Nowadays, like, you can just tell they don't even want to fucking be there.
Totally.
Can I cuss? Is that cool?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're good.
Cool.
Also, I always think to myself, selling cars, do I look like another car sales girl or a car guy? I never wanted to look like everybody else. I didn't want to blend in.
Right.
I always made myself the most interesting person in the room. Make yourself that.
Okay, I'm going to write that
down. And
down.
that goes not just for selling garages, but that's like
in life,
dating.
Right? Yeah.
That is finding new friends. Be the most interesting person in the room, because people are attracted to interesting personalities. People want to know about you. And I'll give you like an example of things that I mean by interesting. You know, your tonality, your verbiage, your excitement.
Okay.
And something that I realized, I'll let you write that, and I'll tell you what I.
Yeah, appreciate you. I'm slow, sorry.
It's okay.
I barely graduated high school, just to put that in perspective.
Good. Thank God we got you in sales.
Wait, what were you? I'm writing down key things. You said.
Yeah. So be the most interesting. Don't look like all the other garage door services.
You said verbiage, though.
Yeah, verbiage, the way that you talk, the way that you act.
Way you talk.
Your body language.
Body language. Is it? I don't care if I'm spelling it wrong.
Shake my hand. I'm assuming that's how you normally shake people's hands?
Yes.
Okay, I don't. I always do 2 hands.
2 hands? I have done that.
This makes it more personable.
Right.
Because instead of just, because again,
sorry if
that's normally what people do, right?
Yeah.
Normal people just shake like that.
Normally, let me.
Wait, I'm gonna give you a coaching session real quick too. You just pointed out your insecurities. Don't do that.
Okay.
You just said, "Oh, sorry if I." Don't point out your insecurities, because I didn't notice it. I didn't think it was a problem until you brought it up. So that's another thing. When you're in front of a customer and you're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm really dirty, I'm dusty," like you're pointing out all the things. That's the first thing that people will do in a conversation, is they start pointing out all the negative things that they think is bad. I didn't think that there were anything wrong with your hands.
Okay.
You brought it up. Now you're creating a situation that doesn't even need to be brought up. Now I feel like, okay, you're nervous about yourself. Now I'm a little nervous if I'm about to spend really $2,000 with somebody when you're like already pointing out things that you don't feel comfortable. Like, have that confidence. Your posture, your body language, like shoulders always up. Mm-hmm. So when I shake somebody's hand, I go like this, and I always put the second one on top. And don't ever think that because you're a guy that it's weird to do 2 hands, because I love it. It's very rare, but I love it when I go into a place and a guy will put both hands, eye contact, because this makes me feel like I'm really being taken care of, and you're right here. Okay. There's so many things that are going on. Like, there's somebody that walked in through that door, and I was right here, I was talking to you, and there's somebody that walked in through the door. I didn't let my eyes and I didn't go look at that person. I stayed right here with you. There's been people left and right that are like trying to come in here in the door. Not once have I looked at those people, because I'm right here with you. And there's a lot of people that are not in this world. Like, they're not where their feet are at. So when you give somebody your undivided attention, it makes them feel really, really important. Gotcha. So doing the 2 hands makes them feel more cared for. Like, it's different. People don't have that body language anymore. So 2 hands, and then get them to talk about themselves. Write that one down. Get people to talk about themselves. People love talking about them. I love talking about myself. If I love it, then I know other people do. So if you're like, "Is this your dog? Oh my gosh, is this your family?" Are you kidding me? Did you just go to Hawaii last month and this is your family photo? I lived there for 8 years. Yeah. Are you from there?
Yeah.
Did you just go and visit? And then they're like, "Oh no, my kids, this and that," and they start telling you, and you're like, "I am just doing this just to sell you some damn garages." And you're sitting there and you just letting them soak it up. Like, let them feel good, you know, because most people are just like, "Okay, here for the repair. Where's the garage? Yep, point me my way. Where do we go? Over here." No, that's you slowing down the process. So when you take the shoes off, you got the dog treats, you're doing the double hand, okay, then we go over. It makes people feel more appreciated, especially in their environment. People are uncomfortable. Like, that's their sacred home, their sanctuary, their house. Mm-hmm. They don't know who you are. You know, that's weird for them. I mean, I'd be a little uncomfortable if I didn't know somebody and they're coming into my home. So when you do those gestures, it's like, oh, okay, feel more comfortable. Gotcha. So those are different things that I would do to build trust and rapport. Gotcha. What's your next one?
So kind of same thing on building rapport. Well, this kind of, do you know what DISC is? Do you guys use DISC?
What is that?
No. So it's like a way to like break down certain personality types. So like D is like more dominant, right?
Got
more the guys that are like, "Hey, let's get to the point."
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I know
you know what I mean? So how do you gain trust with a D personality?
Dominant.
A dominant, yeah, like a more like people, because what we claim D to be is like somebody who doesn't really have time. They just want you out there. They just do whatever you need and let me know how much it is. if I like the price, I'll take care of it. But just get to it and like let me go back to, I work from home. Let me go back to work. You know,
yeah,
type
that
thing.
that's funny that you bring that up because I haven't worked with somebody like that in a while. But I remember working in the car business, and majority of my clients were all truckers. They were farmers, right?
Right.
So they're like, I just need a diesel truck. I need it to be 2,500 or 3,500. I need it to tow 10,000 pounds. Like, this is exactly what I need. What do I have? And I'm like, that's when you need to know your product really well. So I want you to write this down. Nobody knows your brand, your product better than you. You need to know your product like the back of your hands. You have to be the most knowledgeable person. Because 9 times out of 10, that guy has already done his research. He's already called online. He's already done with 10 different people.
Right.
Like, he already knows everything.
Right.
He's got all the information, probably more than we may even know. So that's when you knowing all of the brands, the springs, like all of the brand names, this is where it's going to come in handy because that kind of person is going to test you on this. And I would still like give my love, and I would still do all of those things because that guy is still expecting you to be like everybody else. But I would just make sure that you're efficient versus maybe an older person that's like, oh, I've got no time off. I'm retired. Let's hang out. Obviously, you need to be efficient. So this is where you got to make sure that you know your brand more than anybody else. So pricing, products, because that guy, he's going to be looking to see, where's your eye contact? Are you really certain? He's looking to see, does this guy really know exactly what he's doing, or is he brand new? Like, even when I was brand new, I acted like I knew everything. So I want you to write this down. Appear bigger than what you may seem.
Appear bigger than what you may seem.
Mm-hmm. Because somebody can sense if you are new, and because you're younger, people will automatically judge you of, oh, you may be 22, 23 years old. You might not know as much as the guy who's 30, 40 years old.
Right. How do you get out of head trash?
Ooh, head
What's
trash.
a good way
I've
to get out
never
of head
heard
trash?
of that before.
That's what they call it.
I like that.
You
Head
like that?
trash.
You
Yeah,
can't-
that's
you
kind of
can't-
cool.
You can't steal it.
I won't.
I'm just
I
kidding.
won't.
No, feel free to.
So, a couple of different things. I keep my gratitude. Like,
Keep your
I'm
gratitude.
grateful that I even have a job and somebody who's willing to pay me and keep me employed.
I like that.
I keep my
your gratitude.
Yep, I keep my gratitude. Also,
All right, head trash.
so I keep my gratefulness. I keep my gratitude every single time. Also, like, just the fact that we even have an opportunity to be doing this, like we're lucky to be where we're at. Number 2, who are you surrounding yourself with? Like, because those other people are going to help either add into those thoughts or bring you down.
Okay.
So who's your circle of trust?
Right.
You're the sum of the 5 people that you hang out with.
Yep. I agree.
So if you go home and you're like, man, I got zeros all day today, and those people are negative too, they're going to feed into that zero count. And they're going to be like, man, that sucks. Like, and then you start to become entitled, and then you feel like people owe you something.
Gotcha.
That starts to dig deep down into a hole.
Okay. Cool. Let's go into this one. ADHD. How do you work with it, and how to use it to my advantage?
I change the way that I think, and I rewire my brain. So another thing that I used to tell myself, I call this the Haley story.
Okay.
There's a girl that I grew up with, and it's all about your thoughts and internaling what you say. So if you tell yourself every single day, I have ADHD. So if you, Josiah, is that okay that I move? Mm-hmm. Okay. So if you tell yourself every single day that I have ADHD, let's just say that you tell yourself this in your thoughts. Let's say that you do this for 2 years straight. You tell yourself that. Well, in 2 years, you're probably just going to be conditioned that you got ADHD, right?
Yeah.
So imagine if you told yourself, I'm really smart. I'm funny.
Handsome.
And I'm
No, I'm
handsome.
just
Whatever those words
I'm
are.
just kidding.
And I'm well put together.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm really well put together. So instead of you saying to yourself every single day, I have ADHD, that's why I don't believe, like I used to believe that depression was a thing, because I would tell myself that every single day. I would tell myself, like, I'm depressed, I'm depressed, I'm depressed. So if I tell myself in 2 years that I'm depressed, I'm probably going to kill myself, or I'm going to commit suicide, because or I'm probably going to call a doctor and ask for medications and just start seeing, I'm going to start getting into meds. I'm going to start seeing a therapist. And I'm just going to keep going along the list of things of what I think that I am, because I keep telling myself that I'm depressed. So instead, let's just choose another word. Instead of depressed, just say I'm happy, I'm grateful. Or in your case, I don't have ADHD. I'm smart, I'm funny, I'm handsome, and I'm really well put together.
Okay.
But you have to mean that inside of your mind. So let's just say for the next 2 years that instead of saying you have ADHD, that you classified yourself underneath these four titles.
Right.
Well, in 2 years of the compound effect, every morning that you wake up, what's 365 plus 365? 365 plus 365. That's 10, 12, 13, 6, 7 for the next 730 days that you tell yourself that I'm smart, I'm funny, I'm handsome, and I'm well put together. Imagine who you're going to be in 730 days later. Exactly what you put in. What you put in is what you're going to get out. So if you tell yourself all those things, like I told myself that I was depressed, I hated myself, I'm going to be that. So I talk about the Haley story because there's a girl that I grew up with. Her name is Haley.
Okay.
And I used to have a family member tell me all the time, Haley's really pretty. Haley is smart. Haley is really well put together. Haley started a business at 18. But I was never praised with those things because all I heard about was Haley and all these things that Haley had. And so I would program into my mind, well, if Haley is smart and pretty and funny, then I don't feel like I am because Haley is not me. And I realized as an adult, as getting mature, I don't care about what Haley has or what she doesn't have because life is my own journey. It's not Haley's journey. Haley gets to live her life however she wants to. But the moment that you start comparing yourself to other words or other people, that's when you start to spiral down. So I just realized, you know what? Celina's really smart, and she's funny, and she's pretty, and she's really well put together. So if I tell myself that every single day for the next 730 days, well, Celina's probably not going to think anything about Haley anymore because Celina's smart and funny and really pretty and well put together. So I believe that when you say, like, oh, I have ADHD, that's just your programming. So if we can rewire your brain and the way that you think and you replace something with this ADHD instead, you'll get that.
Cool.
So, and you see what I'm saying? The compound effect of like 2 years?
It makes sense.
That's powerful.
It makes sense. Compact.
Yeah.
Okay. I obviously need help with being able to be well versed, or not versed, excuse me, better verbiage, just become a master communicator.
Oh, yeah.
What, read more books?
Yeah.
I hate reading.
I used to hate it too, but then I realized I started getting more results.
Okay.
I started getting more results, and I'm like, it's kind of like going to the gym. If you don't get results,
kind of
like,
knew the answer to it.
Like,
I was just hoping that
you're
you'd
like,
say
screw
something
the
else.
gym.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like, why am I going to the gym? And the reason why we go to the gym is to get healthy, right?
Right.
The muscles is just a byproduct.
Right.
Same for selling. Like, we want to make money. Well, we're not searching for money. Money is just a byproduct, but we want to feel fulfilled because we're able to help more people.
Gotcha. I put read more, dumbass.
See, and wait, here, actually, no, cross that out.
Okay, you're right.
See?
You're right.
See,
yeah.
You're classifying yourself to be that word.
I know. I'm sorry.
And you may think that that's funny, but that shit is the real truth right there. Like, don't call yourself those words. Don't call yourself stupid or dumb. Because when you do that, you will live the next 10 years in that dumbass phase, and it will eat you alive. And then you're going to realize 10 years later, like, oh my God, imagine if I just called myself smart the entire time.
Cool.
So anytime that you catch yourself saying that or like those words, I just be very clear. Stop it, because you're not dumb. You're smart. You graduated high school. You know how many people don't graduate high school? You know how many homeless people that are out there because they don't care? And now you have an earning opportunity. And the reason why I say that is because there's millions of other people that say that same thing about themselves, and you need to help them cut that too.
Okay.
Because it took me 10 years to figure out, I probably shouldn't be calling myself these things. Like, oh, I'm such a bitch. Like, why would I say that about myself? Why would I say, and I see it when people are communicating with other people, like, if you're at a gathering and you're like, oh, what's up, motherfucker? What's up? To your friends. Why would you call that person that word?
Motherfucker.
Do you know how unclassy that makes you sound? How uneducated that makes you sound when you're calling somebody that? In fact, when it's like somebody's like honking at somebody in the car. When I see that, or when other people are like, "What's up, motherfucker?" or "Oh, what up, bitch? What up, ho?" When they say these words, you know what it is they're internally frustrated inside and they don't know how to get that anger out, so they just call people names and everybody calls it to themselves, and you're just all degrading each other. Like, I would be so offended if somebody came up to me and they're like, "What's up, motherfucker?" I'd be like, "Excuse me, that's not, I have a name, and my name is Celina." Well, it goes the same thing. If you're going to call your, like, and I catch myself doing it too. Like, I'm writing something down, and then I'm late, like 10 minutes for an appointment, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm so stupid. How could I forget I had that appointment at 2?" Nope.
Can't say that.
Can't say that.
Gotcha.
Because it's like, no, you're not stupid, Celina. You just had other things that came up in your life that you just realized
It
that
happens.
you
Shit
forgot.
happens.
Yeah, you're human.
Right.
So I always try to correct those things as fast as possible, even when I think actually women are way worse at this than men are, but even like when I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm like, "God, I don't look pretty today," or "Today I'm not having a good day." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, hold on. You don't have any disabilities. Your face isn't deformed. You don't have any medical problems. You're very lucky," because there are some women that do have medical conditions that they can't, people that have cancer, that where their skin is just totally deteriorated, or skin problems. And it's like, "Oh, you don't have any of that. In fact, you're really healthy, Celina." So we have to make sure that, you catch those words, and it's really tough. You got to rewire your brain, and that's where the books come into play. Okay. So I read 3 books at a time. It's all personal preference to what you can handle. Okay. All personal preference. Yeah. So I only get 7 hours of sleep.
Okay.
I can't get any more, and I can't get any less, because if I get less, I'm too tired and I won't have enough energy.
Right.
But if I get too much sleep, then I'm groggy. So I only sleep off of 7 hours every single night. Okay, so if that means that if I go to bed at 10, then I can wake up at 5. If I go to bed at 11, then I can wake up at 6.
May I ask you, do you strive, or do you aim to go to bed at a certain time, or does it just?
I always try to go to bed at 10 because I like to be up at 5.
Understandable.
If not, if I go to bed at 11 or I'm backed up with work, dinner, then I wake up at 6. But if I go to bed at 12, then I'm waking up at 7. I'm not going to get up at 5 o'clock because I need those full hours.
Okay.
I like to go to bed from 10 and wake up at 5 because it usually takes me about 30 minutes or so. I like to exercise in the evening. Everybody has different personal preference.
Right.
Like Andy loves to work out in the morning.
Right.
My morning, first thing in the morning, are so important, and I need me time. You also need you time. Like, you got to focus on you.
Right.
And you need at least an hour of that out of the day. And I need that too, like for my own self. So it usually takes me about 30 minutes to get up in the morning. So like if I want to make a cup of coffee, if I got to pee, if I got to, do the small things in the morning, I put my phone on Do Not Disturb the night before.
Right.
And I do not look at my phone for the first hour. You're starting your day off with chaos, text messages, Instagram notifications, Facebook. So you got way too much stuff going on the phone. So I take the first hour of the day. So if that means if I get up from 5 and if I need 30 minutes, then I'm technically I'm starting at 5:30. So from 5:30 to 6:30, I read. That's the first thing that I do in the morning. So my first book.
Can I keep this?
Yeah, all this is going to be yours.
Cool.
The first thing that I'm reading is I'm reading about money right now, Psychology of Money. It's a great book.
Okay. Yeah, write that down for me because I need some. I need some reads.
The greatest way to wealth is self-investment. So you buying these books is very good for you.
Right.
Like this is good stuff because more knowledge. So Psychology of Money, that's my book that I'm reading from 5:30 to 6:30. I want to get better on money, and I used to not be very good at money, and it's because I just didn't understand money. That's
understandable.
All.
Yeah.
So
one other thing, really quick, and I'll let you hold that thought. So because I don't because I don't like to read, it's because I'm slow at it, and I never really took the time to practice. And so that's why I just don't have the patience. Can I ask you this? Can I read along to an Audible?
Yeah.
Would that help? Okay.
Yeah, do that.
I feel more comfortable.
Some people like that.
Yeah.
You can totally do that. I like books because I get a highlighter, and I like to write in it.
Oh, you write in your books?
Oh,
okay.
yeah. My books are
I've seen that, but
marked
colorful
up.
Or what?
Oh, yeah, here. And I'll pull one out so you can see it. So my second book that I read, it's called Be Your Future Self Now, which is this one.
Okay.
So my second book that I read, that's this book. Highly recommend it. I sit right there at that chair.
Okay.
and I come in from 8 o'clock to 8:30. I come into work. And I give myself 30 minutes of time for me at that chair.
Right.
I want that chair because typically in the morning this office is closed. We have a meeting at 8:30, so I'm never late because I'm sitting. My butt needs to be in that chair by 8 o'clock. And if I get there at 8:10, well, that means I'm only having 20 minutes left for this book. But it allows me to never be late because I'm already sitting there. I get my cup of coffee at like 7:45 or 7:50, and then I come sit right there, and then I read this book. So this book is great, Be Your Future Self. It talks about Mr. Beast. And
Mr. Beast?
Do you know Mr. Beast? The guy that does all the crazy YouTube stuff? Like, you got to stand in this square for 24 hours. If you do, I'll give you $1 million. No? Never heard of him?
Mr. Beast.
YouTube sensationalist?
I think I have. Mr. Beast. He sounds familiar.
So this book is about him and how when he was 16, his parents are like, no, you're gonna go to college, like you're gonna do it the right way, and he didn't.
Yes.
If I do that routine for the next 730 days, I'm gonna become a smarter woman.
Gotcha.
So for Future Self, that's 30 minutes every single day. Okay. Then my third book that I'm reading, I told you I'm kind of taking over like the hospitality sector in the Elliott Group. Mm-hmm. I'm reading a book on hospitality.
Okay.
And that's the Disney Institute book, like their training manual. I'm reading that because I want to implement that here in the Elliott Group. So usually about 30 minutes before I go to bed, I'll read this book. So these are my 3 different books. So I'm technically getting like 3 different types of information in every single day.
Right.
And that'll make you feel really good because you're growing.
Cool.
And you're growing in 3 different areas.
I like that. Okay.
That makes sense?
And so so they're all typically different subjects. Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Whatever ones that you want to cover over, but I want to learn more about money, being my future self, and then this is what I'm trying to help grow in the Elliott Group. So those are my 3 different areas, and I put a bookmarker so I know exactly where I'm at.
Gotcha. Yeah. Got it. You're the shit. Thank you for
Dude,
sharing that with me.
Yeah, you're welcome. This thing
has
saved my life. And I think just as long as you stay consistent. Remember this, the 730 days?
Compound effect.
Dude, just stay consistent because that's where everybody gives up. Everybody gives up because when it gets hard, they get out. So if you can keep on that 2-year mark, and I always tell people, just stick to one thing and master it. Like there's been so many times in my life where it's like, oh, Celina, you could get into real estate. And then you could go sell insurance, and you could do all these things. Instead, I just stick to the automotive industry, and I mastered it for 10 years. Like just stick to one thing and do it.
Right.
There's been months where I have zeros, where I've had zeros before, or like where I didn't sell cars, or like there's been a month where one time I only did like 8 cars or 10 cars, and I'm like, man, I suck at this.
Right.
And it's like, well, no, you haven't mastered it. You've only done it for 6 months. Put time into it, real time. So like stick to one thing, master it, and be the best at it, and your results will come. I promise you that.
I believe you.
And as long as you do the required work and you stick to the blueprint plan, like you'll have more money than you know what to do with.
Cool.
And it'll be really neat because you'll feel fulfilled because you actually stuck to what you said that you were gonna do.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, that makes sense. 100%.
Hell yeah.
Cool, dude.
Let's go.
Let's go.
All right.
I'm ready.
What's going on, Elliott Army? Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like that content, please subscribe. Also, if you loved it too, take a look at these other videos that are very similar to help you guys add value, crush it, kill it. Come on.